You want the Houston Texans to fix the offensive line. I want the Houston Texans to fix the offensive line. They want to fix the offensive line. And if they're thinking about the draft and fixing the offensive line that way, I got four names for you after a visit with the Big Uglies. And I say that affectionately in Indianapolis at the NFL Scouting Combine. The Texans need to get better on the offensive line. They've got to get CJ Stroud some bodyguards. He can't keep getting sacked like he did last season. And more than the sacks, it was the constant pressure that he dealt with that just destroyed any chance of success. Well, the Texans need to add some veterans to the room. But if they're looking for a young guy to add to the equation, if they're looking for somebody to help protect CJ Stroud out of the draft, let's get started with some first-round names for you. A couple first-round names and a couple of day two names for the Texans to be thinking about. Let's start with a university that the Texans love to draft out of, Alabama's Tyler Booker. And let me tell you what about Tyler Booker. Considered to be the Will Anderson of the offense at Alabama for how well he led the team. I love talking to Tyler Booker about football on Saturday at the Scouting Combine. It was impressive to hear him talk about how important football is to him, how he gets asked about his personal life and his football life, and how he keeps them separate. He told teams, well, since 9 years old, that's been my life, is football. And he said, look, other people play it for their family, other people play it for money, other people play it for glory. He said, I play football because I love football. But the best things he said was he likes to make people hate football when they go against Tyler Booker over the course of a game. And he would love to be on a team with Will Anderson again. Booker was a leader at Alabama, and he said he learned a lot of his leadership techniques and leadership style from Will Anderson when the two were teammates for just one season a couple of years ago. There's a lot to like about Booker. He has the results at the college level, the consistency at the college level that you could plug him in and play him on the interior of your offensive line from day one. That's right. That's how ready he is for the NFL. And I know we've heard this before about Kenyon Green and about how he was ready and he has a high floor, but I believe it more when I hear Tyler Booker talk, and then the results at Alabama speak for themselves. He has been a brick wall protecting the Alabama quarterback situation for the past couple of seasons. You can rely on him. He's durable. And then he talked about the leadership aspect, and he said, look, I know as a leader at Alabama, it's easy to be a leader at Alabama. I'm not foolish enough to know that I'm going to just walk into an NFL room and talk to a guy that's got two mortgages, 4 kids, a wife, an ex-wife. You know, I'm paraphrasing here. He didn't quite say it that way, but he understands that to become a leader, he's going to have to go out there and earn it, and most likely earn it from the football field standpoint. I mean, there's a lot to like about Tyler Booker. Now, how do you get him? Well, you use your first-round draft pick on him. Booker is a first-rounder through and through, and the range is different depending on who you talk to. Some people believe Booker could go as high as the top 10, and other people believe that Booker is a surefire late-round, first-round pick, or late first-round pick, because one of these good teams is going to need a guard. They snatch him up, and then he takes care of business. A couple people think he's an early day 2 guy. I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I feel like a team would be interested in making sure they get Booker and have that 5th-year option. But Tyler Booker, Alabama, that's the first name for the Houston Texans on the interior, fixing some things up. There's a lot to like about him. And obviously, you can ask Will Anderson about him. I got to imagine Will Anderson's going to say a lot of really good things about his guy, Tyler Booker. You can ask other players about playing against a guy like Booker. So plenty to learn about a guy like Tyler Booker, and he did meet with the Houston Texans while in Indianapolis. Now let's talk to the Senior Bowl standout, the star of the Senior Bowl. How about Gray Zabel, another first-round offensive lineman that the Texans could go out there and get and help solidify that offensive line? He met formally with the Houston Texans in Indianapolis at the Scouting Combine, and there's a lot to love about Gray Zabel. Zabel played at North Dakota State University, and you're saying to yourself, Cody, that's a not great competition. He's a big guy. Of course he dominated those guys. Yeah, Well, then he went to the Senior Bowl and he kicked everybody's ass. He was awesome at the Senior Bowl. And Daniel Jeremiah was telling the story during the combine that Zabel took more snaps than anybody at the scouting combine. And then he asked him why at the end, like, why'd you take so many individual snaps, so many, 2-on-2 snaps, things like that? And he said, defensive linemen kept calling me out. Well, they kept calling him out, and he kept kicking their ass when he did that. So he proved at the Senior Bowl he could step up to the competition. And then he went out there, put on some athletic showcase at the combine. And here's the big thing to understand about Zabel. He played tackle at North Dakota State University. He's going inside. He's going to play guard and maybe center. Some people believe he could be the best center in this class, but he's an interior offensive lineman through and through. He's tough as nails. He wanted to win another national championship at North Dakota State. He turned down over $500,000 to stick around with the Bison and win a national championship, then went out there and improved his draft stock throughout the process of the draft, not worrying about what people saw with his brethren that he put in so much work at North Dakota State. Man, I just love the mentality of Gray Zabel. He's like a switch flip guy, just like Booker is too. Booker kind of felt a lot like Will Anderson, big, smiley, great personality, and then you watch him on tape, and the switch flips, and he's a monster. Same thing with Gray Zabel. I get that from him as well. Great personality. He was laughing at the podium. People are like, what position are you the best at? What position do you think you're going to play in the NFL? And he's like, offensive line. He's having some fun. He's not pinning himself down to, I'm a center, I'm a guard. And look, in a pinch, I guess you could play him at tackle, but the interior. Now, where do you get him? How do you get him? Yeah, first round pick. You use number 25 overall on Gray Zabel. Some people believe he could sneak into the top 15, top 20, but if he's sitting there at 25 and the Texans feel like they have that need still at the offensive line, especially on the interior, Gray Zabel, that's the pick, that's the selection. Now, many of you aren't on board with a first-round offensive lineman. You've still got Kenyon Green, PTSD, and I certainly understand that. And plus, the Texans need help at wide receiver. What if Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State was there? Matthew Golden from Texas, Mr. Speed Demon from over the weekend. What if they were there? What if Nick Amenawari from South Carolina, the standout stud safety, that'd be a perfect fit next to Kalen Bullock there at the safety spot? What if he was there and you didn't want to take an offensive lineman? Have no fear. I've got day two guys for you to think about that can also go in there, be nasty, help out the Houston Texans. This guy's one of my favorite prospects in the entire draft, and I made sure that I asked him, how exactly do I say your last name? Because I'm sure you've had a bunch of crazy last name pronunciations. It's Arizona offensive lineman Jonah Savaiinaea. And he is such a fun prospect. He played guard initially at Arizona and then played tackle. And he played tackle really well for the Wildcats. So he's got some position versatility for you. Left guard, right tackle, maybe left tackle in a pinch, though I wouldn't feel great about sticking him out there. But he's just a big, nasty individual. He talked about how he wants to do whatever an NFL team needs him to do, how hard he worked to get to where he is. And he felt like when he got to Arizona, he wanted to change the outlook of Arizona football. He had lots of offers from lots of different places, but he went to Arizona because they wanted to change the program and change the culture at Arizona. And then he stuck around after his head coach left, and the Wildcats had to get a new head coach, and he still wanted to go in there and change the outlook of what people thought of Arizona. What unit needs a change of outlook? How about the offensive line? Savaiinaea is a guy that you can rely on. Big, strong. He's athletic, good feet. I really enjoy talking to him. Real kind of calm demeanor, soft-spoken, but he can dial it up on the football field. Been paying attention to him throughout the draft process. And man, at the Senior Bowl, when somebody got him, and even if he didn't dominate the rep, he was furious and was out there looking for revenge the next time. This is a type of mentality that you can be successful with. And you don't have to spend that first-round pick to get Savaiinaea. Likely a day two selection. And there's plenty to like about that position versatility and the success he's had at that position versatility. Savaiinaea, keep him on your radar. Now this one, oh, by the way, one more thing about Savaiinaea compared to Gray Zabel, compared to Tyler Booker, and really comparing him to Booker. Booker's not a great athlete, okay? Booker's not a great athlete when you look at the athletic testing, but the tape is there. With Savaiinaea, maybe there's an issue here or there on the tape that Booker doesn't have. He's an athlete, though. So if you can continue to fine-tune him as an offensive lineman, then you could get some really fun stuff out of Savaiinaea. And this brings you to one of my favorite picks that the Texans could make here in the upcoming draft. I love this player, and as I learned more about him and talked to people about him, and then you just watch him, the vibe, the presence that he brings, I love the idea of the Texans ending up with Georgia guard Tate Ratledge. Look at that immaculate haircut. Look at the flow, the lettuce, as Jim Rome used to say. I mean, what an incredible look this guy has. He's got the mullet. He's got that nasty mustache that matches his nasty mentality with the Bulldogs. He thought about coming out last year, and I asked Ratledge, I said, hey, what are you most proud of in your career with the Georgia Bulldogs? He said, well, 2 national championships, obviously. And I was like, yeah, I know that, but what else? And he's like, I came back when I probably could have come out. I probably could have done something else. I decided to come back and become a captain for the Bulldogs. And that was really important to me. And ultimately, I was able to achieve that. And then Ratledge went out there and tested off the charts at the combine athletically. He tested as one of the 10 most athletic guards in about the past decade or so. Like, that is an impressive level of athleticism. And you look at the guy and you're like, that guy's a big-time athlete? That guy's a big-time athlete. And he's mean. And he's nasty. And he's had a lot of success in the SEC. Oh, by the way, the Texans like those big program guys. How they've picked from Alabama. How they've had success from Georgia. I got to imagine Kamari Lassiter's probably got a word or two about Big Nasty here. And I just love the idea of the day 2 investment in a guy like Ratledge, who maybe right away he's not playing, or maybe he's coming in and he's got to fight somebody to the death for a starting spot. Maybe he's even an option at center because he worked out a little bit at center as well throughout the process. Man, I love the idea of Ratledge and the Houston Texans. Really exciting player, really intriguing player to me. And again, flying up the I gotta know more board from the draft process with Tate Ratledge. So 4 different offensive linemen that the Texans could invest in. 2 first-rounders, 2 day 2 guys if you don't want to do the first-round investment. What say you? You like any of these guys? You got some other offensive line names that you like? Let me know in the comment section down below. On your way down there, throw me a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out SNL, myself and Landry Locker, weekdays, 4 p.m. You don't want to miss out on that. Houston football. Got the sweet banner. I'll figure out how to point. We got the nice, sweet banner here behind us. Link to the description down there for long, detailed stuff from the scouting combine. You don't want to miss out on any of it. Appreciate you watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. We can't wait till we talk Texans again soon.